I'm Greg McCollum. Did you know that the key to success is subtraction, not addition? If you don't already know that, tune in to find out why.
You are listening to the Prosper Law Podcast. Learn how to reduce stress, have more time, and make more money. Come on in.
I'm Greg McCollum, and I built a 7-figure criminal defense law firm. I formed Prosper Law to show criminal defense law firm owners who are desperate for success how to grow from under $200,000 to $1 million and beyond. So today I'd like to talk about something, and it's subtract your way to success. To succeed, you need to subtract things from your life, not add things. And that's counterintuitive, right? You need to subtract things that you're doing in order to be more successful. I think there's probably universal concept, or I would call it a misbelief, that if you're going to grow and be successful, then anybody would know you have to do more and you have to add things. So you have to add things into your life. If you're going to be successful, you got to do more. You got to add it up. If I don't add things into my life, then I'm never going to be successful. But that's wrong. All right? And it seems crazy, but I've lived it. I've seen other people live it. And I'm always reading books, interviews about people that are, wildly, financially successful. And I think almost all of them talk about it. You could name anybody. If you were sitting here, you could say, well, what about this person, Greg? Or, what about that person? Is that what they say? And they all say it. And I think there's a book called The Power of No. And if there isn't a book called The Power of No, there should be. Because to really change your life and be successful, you cannot be everything to everybody. And while it's nice to be that friend who will always, take you to the airport or pick you up from the airport, or do you a favor. Can you just do me this favor? We're friends. I need this. Those things, while good, they get in the way. And with me, I'm just as likely to say, sure, yeah, I'll do that, and then call somebody that works for me or somebody that's not on my payroll but that works for me in different capacities, and ask them to do it. Okay? Hey, so-and-so, somebody has this appointment or somebody has this thing. Can you handle it? And then that's off my plate. Now, there's certain things, I have 2 daughters that are, college age, high school age. So, there's certain things that I'm going to go do. I love my daughters. I want to be their father. I want to be, I want to support them emotionally. Like my daughter the other day, her passport was expired. And so the youngest daughter, a parent or guardian had to go with her. And so we had to, make an appointment at the post office, and that post office is far away. And we went down there and we did the thing, and it took a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half. But then we had lunch. I had lunch with her when it was over. And so it was very nice, but that's time consuming. Now my other daughter, because she was 19 when we did it, she didn't need a parent or guardian to go with her. So she lives in another city. She lives in Atlanta. And so I told her, I said, well, here's your, helicopter dad, right? Here's the passport application I filled out for you. I'll send you the documents. All you need to do is find a place in Atlanta. I'll help you find it. And you go there and renew your passport. Well, she didn't feel comfortable with that. She wanted me to go with her. And so, okay, I'll go with you. So I went with her, same thing. had a nice lunch. I think we went to the same diner, and so I had a good experience. So you don't say no to everything. There are some things that are important that you're going to say yes to. Now, there's another example where a friend of mine who is a lawyer, and we're very close. We talk almost every day, and she had asked me because her husband had gotten a ticket because I think it was, it's illegal to have your dog off a leash in a neighborhood or something. I think they call it the leash law or something. And so the dog, which is big and a big puppy, had scared the neighbors. And this has happened a couple times. They had trouble like controlling the dog. And so he got, the animal control or the police were called. So he got a ticket. So now he's got a court date. And for some reasons, she didn't want to be the one representing him. And so she just assumed that I was going to go and handle his ticket, right? As a lawyer, I've been doing things like that for a year. Oh, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Well, to do it, a couple of things have to happen. One, I have to get up, I have to put on a suit, I have to get ready, I have to drive to the court, which is, need to give myself an hour to get there. I could probably get there in, 40 minutes or 37 minutes, but you never know. So now I've got to go there, park, go up to the courthouse, and then court never starts on time. So I may be sitting in there for an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half before his case is called. Then I get up there with him and do my thing, and get the result we want. And then after that, talk to him a little bit, shake his hand, get in my car, drive 45 minutes back to the office. That's time consuming, okay? And so I told her, I said, you just assumed I was going to do that. But, I don't go to court anymore. I don't even go to court for my own clients. And so you don't need me. Anybody can do it. Why don't you just send one of the lawyers that work in your law firm, let them do it? Well, she didn't say anything. She said, that's fine. All right. And I read somewhere that when a woman, and when you're in a relationship, we're not in a relationship, we're in a friendship, but I'm a man and she's a woman, that anytime, a woman says, no, I'm fine, that basically means she's mad as hell. Okay. I'm fine. No, I'm fine. Okay. That's what it means. So she was fine. Okay. She wasn't fine. And I don't think she called me for a week. All right. Or maybe 5 days. She was mad. She was hurt because I'm her friend and I wouldn't go do that. So, and if you hear the story and you judge it and you go, well, Greg, you're not a good friend. You should have done that. Now, there are two sides to it. I understand that. I accept that. And it worried me and it bothered me. But at some point, I have to change my life. And I changed my life, and these are one of the new rules. Now, the task is fine because when I told her, I said, why don't you send one of your lawyers to do it? And she had some reason, some excuse why she didn't want to do that. And then I told her, I said, well, I'll get one of my lawyers to handle it. Okay? Well, at that point, that in my mind, what difference does it make whether it's one of my lawyers or one of her lawyers or it's me? There's nothing magic about me to be able to handle this. So it's not like I'm not going to pick you up at the airport. It's not like I'm not going to go have a lawyer go appear on this ticket or this little infraction. It's not that. I'm willing to solve it. I'm willing to help. But I'm not going to go do it because my time is too valuable. And the reason I'm not going to do it is because I'm trying to accomplish something. I'm trying to do other things. I've got things that mean something to me that I would like to improve and accomplish before I can't work anymore or before I die. And I'm not, I don't like to talk about age because everybody I know that's my age, they'll talk about how old they are, and I actually changed my birthday so I wouldn't think I was as old. But so time is precious, and this is something that I was unwilling to do. So I've got a lot of examples of that where I've done that. Now, there are 168 hours in a week. And I did some math here, okay? Because because I know a lot of people, and there are people that I talk to in my coaching program, and there are people that I'm friends with, and there are people that are complaining about their life, or they're judging themselves, saying they don't get anything done, and they think they're a bad person. But I tell them, I said, and I told this particular friend this morning on a phone call before we came in here, I said, you know, I'm doing a podcast on subtract your way to success, and she was talking about something that was bad. I said, it's really not bad. It's just you got to subtract some stuff. So 168 hours a week, 24 hours a day, we all know that. So you sleep for 8. So you eat. You have to eat some, right? So let's say you just spend 2 hours a day eating. You have to bathe and get dressed, or if you're a woman, put on makeup. So let's say that's an hour. So you take your kids to school. I took my kids to school. You know, it takes about an hour. Maybe it's 38 minutes. All right, you get in car line and all that stuff. If you commute to work and you commute, 30 minutes one way, then that's an hour a day. And a lot of people commute a lot farther. Like my commute from my house to my office is 7 minutes. Okay, but it's still, the 7 minutes really turns into 15 minutes, because the 7 minutes is from the time I crank the car in my garage until I get out of my car to walk in the office. But, I had to get to the car. I had to get ready for work. I had to get my computer bag and my stuff. Then when I get there, I have to walk in the office. I have to sit down, and turn the light on and plug in or charge something or do something. So there's time. So just commute. Just I'm saying 1 hour a day for people. And if you look at your commute, add it up. And don't beat yourself up for not getting anything done, because that's how long it takes. You got to go to work. You got to get there. It's a commute. So I think when I added all that up, that's 13 hours. There's 13 hours right there. So now guess what? You got to sleep. So you sleep for 8. You can't subtract that. So where's your time? So now, if you cook, it takes a couple of hours. If you clean your house, if you mow your lawn, if you have to go to the grocery store, then you have to do things that have to be done. You got to pay your bills, you open mail, talk to family, maybe exercise. You just don't have that much time left. So when you look at it, what can you get rid of? What can you shed? And I would say this, that assistants are not a luxury, they are a necessity. If you have assistants doing things for you, that doesn't make you an elitist. That just makes you somebody that values your time. So there are two different things I'm talking about here. One is the saying no to stuff, and the other is buy back your time. And there's a story about this football player that is a really great story. This kid named Hunter Renfro, and he was a star player at Scarcity High School, which is just outside of Myrtle Beach. And he played quarterback for his high school team. His dad was the coach. And he played quarterback, even though that wasn't really his position, but he was the best athlete, the best one suited to play quarterback, so he played quarterback. So he didn't get a lot of scholarship offers. He got some scholarship offer to some, not Division I schools. So here he is. He's got these scholarship offers, but he grew up a Clemson fan, lifelong Clemson fan. So he wanted to go to Clemson. So he goes and as a walk-on. I think preferred walk-on is the term. So he walks on at Clemson, and he's just focusing on football. And later you learn that that's all he ever did. And his family supported him and took things off his plate. So he just focused on, academics and football. That's all he did. That's all he worked on. And so when he got to Clemson, he had this work ethic, and he also had more talent than people realized. I mean, he's playing in the NFL right now, okay? So body type, physical part, you don't think the kid is that athletic based on maybe stereotypes and things like that. But he is athletic, and he's devoted and dedicated. So he ends up, earning a scholarship at Clemson. The coach Sweeney gave him a scholarship after a year or two. I don't know which. And so he catches the winning touchdown pass in a national championship game against Alabama, where the play started, there were like 7 seconds left. Now, then he gets drafted by, I guess it's the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's got this NFL contract. He's an NFL player, dream come true. And somewhere along in there, he's engaged or gets married, and so his wife sends him to the grocery store, and he's supposed to buy some things, and among the things he's supposed to buy some grapes. So he tells a story where when he brings the grapes home, they're in a bag and they've all been plucked off the vine. He didn't get the little cluster, because I want 3 clusters or whatever. I guess they were just free there. So he didn't get 3 or 4 clusters and put it in a bag and take it and check out. He sat there and picked the grapes off the vine to put them in the bag. And then everybody was laughing at him. And he said, it's embarrassing because I don't know how to buy grapes. I really don't know how to go shopping. I really don't know how to do anything except play football. So his whole life was no. His whole life was concentrating on what he was passionate about and what he was ultimately good at. And that's a remarkable story to me because, and you could look at it, it's like, well, his parents did a bad job raising him or they didn't teach him the basics, but nobody's mad. He's not mad. I'm not mad. His wife's not mad. It's just a lesson in no. All he did is practice and get better. And he, I think he's like 5'10", 180 pounds. Maybe he's heavier than that now with training and stuff. So everybody underestimated him. He said no to everything else. Now, the other remarkable thing about it is, he had that family support. He had people that understood this and supported him. And look what that did for him. So in terms of me, I coached high school mock trial, and I did it for Myrtle Beach High School. And ironically, even though I had 3 children, none of my kids ever were in mock trial. So I was doing it because they asked me to do it. I wanted to do it. And then at the other school where my daughters went and graduated from the 8th grade there is St. Andrew, which is a Catholic school. And I went there, and me and some other people, we coached the mock trial team. And, I loved it. It was very rewarding. It was a very worthwhile thing to do. And, in mock trial, you start practicing like when school starts, and then you have your event. And I can't remember if it was late fall or carried over to the next year. But in mock trial, what you do is you practice for weeks and months. Then you go to one mock trial competition, and if you don't win it, it's over. You go back home. If you do win it, you advance, and you can keep advancing, and you can go through the state and eventually even go to like a national competition. So our team was good, and they advanced, and I was very proud of them. And I bonded with those students, and there are lawyers that I know. I saw one the other day in a diner with his dad, who I know, and this guy is a pretty old lawyer now, but I coached him in mock trial. And there's another guy that lives in my neighborhood, same thing. I coached him on the Myrtle Beach High School mock trial team. Now they're lawyers, and there are other people in their careers that have done great things. So that's extremely rewarding to me. I also coached girls soccer for years. That was extremely rewarding. But at this point, in trying to do something, trying to change my life, when they called me and asked me to coach the St. Andrew mock trial team, and it was tough. It was hard. I said no. All right? And I can't do everything. All right? And I would like to do it, and I want to do it. But part of the power of no is the word decide. And somebody told me one time that when you decide, when you make a decision, that you cut off all other possibilities. And so this conflicts with, fear of missing out, FOMO. People decide. And decide apparently comes from the same root word as homicide. So homicide, is a death. Decide is a death of all other possibilities. So once you decide something, that's the fate. You've killed off other opportunities. You've killed off other choices. There's the concept of the opportunity cost. If you do this, you don't have this other opportunity. But that's part of success. That's part of saying no. It's part of changing your life and getting somewhere that you need to get. So, what are you doing? What should you say no to? And these aren't necessarily invaluable things, but with the limit of time that we all have, you can't do everything. You have to pick and choose. And if you're going to change your life, you have to change your life. And one of the ways you change your life is the power of no and saying no. And you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel guilty. But you can't do everything. And if you just continue doing what you're doing and you're doing everything and that you're a nice person, you're a kind person, and I value kind. I admire people that are kind. I admire people that are giving and they're sacrificing. But you have to understand that you're sacrificing your future when you don't say no. You're sacrificing your future when you don't use the power of no. And if you're deeply concerned that by saying no, people are not going to like you, then in some levels you're doomed, okay? Because if you have the need to be liked on such a strong level that you do things that you really don't even want to do because you want to be viewed as a good person, and you're really troubled if people don't like you or criticize you, then that's a very big impediment to success. It may be the absolute blocker, trying to please people and be everything to all people. So something to think about. If you want to change your life, you have to change your life. You can start by looking at your life, see where your time goes, dream about where you want it to go, and start using the power of no and use the power of subtraction to add to your life. See you next time.
If you want to know more, go to prosperatlaw.com. We show criminal defense law firm owners how to reduce stress, have more free time, and make more money. Thanks for listening.